Hello and welcome to episode 1123 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, December 23rd. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
I mean, if you say so.
We're going to get into why it's not a great morning for you. And it was compounded by an ancillary move to the main thing that we're going to talk about. Obviously, everyone knows what we're alluding to here. But how cold is it there in California? You guys part of the crushing wave of cold across the country?
We have been, but it's not quite as cold because we're expecting a bunch of rain coming in.
Oh, that's almost worse, though.
It's currently 45 in my office.
Okay, so that's kind of like normal December, especially this early in the morning. It's 6:30 for you. But yeah, we're at 14 here in Austin. And I mean, you know very well, as we've been friends for very long. Most people listening know your boy starts to get in some trouble at 65 degrees. So you know that I'm struggling right now. I gotta bundle up. I look at the kid from A Christmas Story, the little brother, when I take Char and Henry out. I'm just bundled up, and I'm like, okay, guys, let's go to the bathroom. Hurry up! It is a nightmare, and it's the wind. It's always the wind. I can deal with weather, even as low as 45. As long as I'm appropriately dressed, I don't mind even when it's cold, as long as it's not blistering wind. But people don't want to hear me complain about the weather. They want to hear you complain about Carlos Correa. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about some moves. It's not a whole moves show because there's only been a few. But then we're going to play a little game here called Gift or Coal. Kind of made it up, obviously related to the holiday season. And I want to know how you feel about these 6 youngsters who just did not pan out this year, but obviously they have high acclaim, prospect pedigree, and I wonder if you're still in on them. But let's start with the saga. I could not believe it. The Carlos Correa situation is part of what, the fun of staying up late sometimes is when stuff like that happens. But lately I've been an early bird. I've been going to bed regular adult times, getting up early. I was sound asleep. Jen actually, woke up in the middle of the night. She was restless. She's checking her phone, and because of my sphere, she has a lot of baseball stuff in her feed. And she's like, "This seems insane," and so she saw it before me. So she tweets me to see in the morning, like, "Babe, wake up! Crazy stuff going on." Carlos Correa, not a Giant, and goes to the Mets. So the timeline of this was Giants canceled the announcement, postponed it. People were looking for reasons. I saw one thing floating around. There was some small earthquake in California, and they were trying to relate it to that. But everyone, I don't know where the earthquake was, but people were like, no, it was nowhere near that. It wasn't that. And little did we know that it wasn't just postponed. That shit was canceled. Your boys got cold feet, and Carlos Correa wasted no time. You guys don't want me? Boom, middle finger, see ya. Call up the Mets, gets the deal done instantly. 1 year less, a little bit different on the terms. What was your first thought when you saw this? And were you up when it happened? Did you see it? Oh, you did, because I had a G-Tap from you in the morning too.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
I was just getting home from a holiday event. We took our kids to go to the Polar Express train. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was, about to go to bed because I had to be up super early for work and stuff, and saw it, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Obviously we had heard throughout the day that there was, some sort of issue with the medicals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It clearly was not the earthquake. That earthquake was not, it was a big earthquake, but it was not anywhere close to San Francisco.
Yeah, that was the thing. And I'm not trying to minimize the earthquake. Like I said, I'd only seen that in passing, but then I saw other Californians saying it's nowhere near that. That's not what it is.
This would be states away if we're talking on the East Coast. This is not close.
We both have that with the states we live in where, they're giant. So what would be, like you said, 3-4 states away in the Northeast corridor is still in California.
This was a few hundred miles away. It's not
So let me rewind real quick. When it got canceled, what was your initial thought when the meeting got canceled, when the rollout?
I thought that there was, obviously there was, kind of rumors that there was a medical issue or a disagreement on one of the medicals. And I went, oh man, this is potential to end really poorly, because
you were concerned immediately.
Yeah, because Boris doesn't renegotiate stuff.
That's the thing too, and that he's basically like, oh, you're gonna do this to us? we're gone. And that's exactly what happened.
And so, like, at first I was all like, you know what, I'm fine with this. We talked about it on the last episode. I wasn't super happy about the signing to begin with. I thought it was really long. I don't love Correa's health track record. And I went, you know what, this is my organization being smart again, and making sure they're not getting stuck with a 13-year contract that's going to be bad after 5 years or something like that. Of course, the way it went down, and now that we know, I mean, we don't know everything, obviously, but what it sounds like is that it was the 2014 ankle injury, which is absurd.
That's the most absurd part.
And as much as I know, like, initially everybody blamed Correa, it's clearly the Giants ownership or Giants management getting cold feet, and this is a really, really bad look, because now, like, what major free agent, was going to want to come there and sign a deal with this kind of bullshit hanging over their heads? And
exactly.
This is an organization, especially because of the park they're in and California taxes, that have had issues signing major free agents, especially offensively.
And this doesn't make it any better.
No, this is awful. I was hanging out with and DVR last time. Baseball pods. Chris was in town, and so we got together. And said, like, this kind of signing is awful because it was supposed to set up the next signing, right? This was
exactly it's the foundation.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, he's right. I hate it when Eno's right, especially about something like this. So yeah, this is just a huge bummer for the organization, for the fans, and the signing that they have now done literally a few minutes ago. It was announced.
Well, they
does not make it any better.
Oh
no.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. I thought that was going to save the offseason. So yeah, Correa. We'll finish on Correa, and then we'll get into the Conforto signing. That's the worst part of this, of course, is that there's nobody left. I asked you, on Monday, would you rather had the Dansby signing? You're like, yeah, absolutely. Just the term and the length. If he had still been there and you did this with Correa, sure, then you pivot to him. And I don't want to say like everything's fixed, but you'd have felt a lot better, right? Giants fans would be like, okay, we got Dansby. It's a different term. It's not as long. It's a lower tier of player in terms of the track record, but he's stayed a lot healthier. He's a very good player. And I think a lot of Giants fans would have satiated themselves with that and said, okay, but there's nothing left that can really change the team. I mean, the only way that you guys are going to do this here is if you sign like 3 or 4 more guys, Eovaldi, Segura. I don't even know who else is. Those are the only 2 that, again, are projected over.
Corey Kluber.
Yeah, Corey Kluber. I mean, bringing like 5, 6 guys maybe, and then try to get lucky. But this is bad. But for Correa, it's not so bad. He goes to the Mets. He goes to this stacked lineup. Park not necessarily doing him any favors, but we knew it wasn't going to do him any favors for the Giants either. This one is worse. The Citi Field is worse. But where do you stand on Correa, especially under the notion that he's almost certain to get third base eligibility? Because Lindor's not coming off short. So he's either going to get third or second. We know we would prefer third because third is a nightmare. And I think with his arm and overall defense, I think Correa at third makes a ton of sense. So how do you feel about him now going to the Mets?
Yeah, they already announced he's gonna.
Okay, they did announce it. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I was surprised. No, I mean, obviously, this was an organization that is okay with spending money.
Yes, they are, in a big way,
in a huge way. But I was surprised that, one, he wanted to play third base or was willing to play third base. I guess, $315 million will make you do a lot of things.
True.
You may not have considered other places.
Hey, Machado moved there. Maybe he sees Machado as kind of a predecessor to this, where, hey, he's very capable of playing short. If anything ever happens to Lindor in a given season, he's going to shift right over, easy peasy. But it's not like you can't be a badass playing third base.
Yeah. I mean, the Park move, it's definitely it hurts a little bit, but he actually would have had 25 home runs as opposed to 22 he had in 2022 in Citi as opposed to somewhere else. So
because here's the thing. from going from the Giants to the Mets is a bigger hit than going from the Twins to the Mets. And of course, he never played with the Giants. So going from Target Field to Oracle was actually a little bit of a jump for Correa. Now this is more of a neutral move, and in fact, a little bit of a homer plus, where Target Field's right-handed park factor is an 87, whereas Citi Fields is a 95. So it's actually a little bit of a boost. Nothing crazy. Like you said he would have a few more extra homers. Neutral. I'm not too worried about this move from Target to Citi for Correa. I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, but I mean, the real plus is, like you mentioned, he's going to get third base eligibility. It's a position that's got some real clear weakness to it. So I think it's going to be really, really nice for him and for fantasy. That offense is going to be great around him. It's going to be a lot more similar to what he had in Houston before going to Minnesota. So, good for him. He got paid. He still got his bag.
Yep.
And yeah, a bummer for my team.
Yeah, it really is. But again, off-season saved because Michael Conforto, baby, coming in on a 2-year deal. Literally just happened.
Unreal.
Like, how do you go around and use a 2014 injury for Correa as a reason to back out? And if they want to pretend that this is the reason, then we're going to hold them to the objective. You and I believe they just got cold feet. And I think we're 100% right. But let's go with their story. 2014 injury, big problem. But you signed Michael Conforto. It's not to a 13-year deal. I understand that. So it's not a 1-to-1. But if you're all meticulous on these injuries right now, how the hell is this the guy you end up with, whose health was lied about, by the way? And what's interesting is, isn't he also a Boris guy? So I guess they didn't fracture the Boris relationship to a full degree, but it's
I feel like they had to do this in order to repair it.
To keep him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's actually a good point for that next move, whatever it may be. I don't know what next year's free agent class looks like, but to kind of keep him in the good graces, they give Conforto a 236. And again, I don't think it's just because of that. They also need players, and he can be good, but it's been a while since we've seen quality Michael Conforto. 2020, but that was a 54-game season. The last full season that we saw was 2019, of course, and he was quite good. 2021, he was pretty mediocre. In fact, a 100 OPS plus on the button in 125 games. Conforto's a good player. I like him, but missed all of 2022, missed 40 games in 2021, or close to, rather, 37. How do you feel about Conforto going over to your Giants now?
This is such a weird signing. Like, I mean, I guess he's like among the best free agents left, and they're just trying to like show that, hey, we're still planning on spending money. You get messed up already. Like, don't like compound one problem with another problem.
Mitch Haniger was their other big signing, by the way, too. And he's had some fluke injuries to where, like, I'm not saying he's super chronic, but he's had some injuries too, and he's not young. So they got 2 injury guys that they signed while complaining that the best of the bunch was too injured to sign.
There are 4 outfielders, 4 main outfielders currently are Mitch Haniger, Mike Yastrzemski, Michael Conforto, and Jock Peterson. This is not a good defensive outfield.
Yeah, great defense.
Yeah. And I mean, thankfully they've got what looks like some depth now because they're going to need it with their injury track records. I don't know. Like, we don't know what Conforto is at this point.
That's true.
Like, and, he could not have picked a worse park to go to. I'm sure this was just the best dollar amount.
Absolutely.
And he's hoping to just kind of revive his, I can't believe he got this amount, but
good for him on that. What is that, 18 mil per? He can certainly earn it. Michael Conforto is a good hitter. And if he is healthy after missing the entire year, there's something there. Now, in 5 DCs, draft champions are going to start perking back up because the Gladiator first run, and I don't know if there's going to be a second run, but it has a little 1 next to it, which makes me think there might be a second run in a while. But those are all filled up. So maybe we're going to see some DCs get back going and get that ADP more robust. But there's only been 5 DCs in December. Conforto is the 55th outfielder off the board at pick 247. How does that suit you? He's going around guys like Benintendi, Gavin Lux, his new teammate, Jock Peterson, Randall Grichuk. Is that the right range for him? Would you take him in that area? Where are you at in Conforto, given his draft price right now?
And considering I think it's probably going to go up after, now that he's signed and stuff.
Yeah.
Not super thrilled about it.
Me neither. Because it could go up. I mean, I could see it with some believers. I could see it going up at least around maybe 2. I think there's a 15 to 30 pick jump possibly here.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I just don't know what he is. I mean, like, is he going to be the same guy we saw, prior to the injury? Is it going to be, a lesser version? Like, he's probably not going to run at all. And so you really need him to power. Now he's in a park that suppresses power. Yeah, he's probably not going to end up on any of my teams. I just don't see it happening.
I'd be surprised if I was taking much Conforto myself. He's just such an unknown. And whatever range he's in, whether he stays in this range or moves up, there's just guys I like more than Conforto. I'm going to be surprised if I find myself really wanting to draft him at all. So it'll be a wait and see thing.
Yeah,
and I'm fine to lose on him if somebody else gets a windfall.
If he moves up, let's say 30, 40 spots, right? I mean, wouldn't you rather take the risk on Cody Bellinger?
Absolutely.
Or Brandon Nimmo, or Lars Nootbaar, or Alex Verdugo.
All of those guys.
Brian De La Cruz. Like, yeah, I'm gonna
probably rather take Brian De La Cruz even.
Even guys like you mentioned, guys going behind him, like Benintendi. I think I'd rather have. I think Austin Hayes, Randall Grichuk, Brandon Marsh, like Trent Grisham. Like, I think I'm taking all those guys.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time quitting Grisham. I'm still taking it, man. I feel like the price is right to take the shot. So, I hope we'll certainly see. So that's the Conforto move. Let's go on to some more positive moves here. Let's start with Brandon Drury to the Angels. I like this. This got lost a bit in the Correa shuffle. This was the morning that everyone was, by the way, it was so fun to see certain people just waking up. It's some, East Coasters maybe wake up late and saw it, but it usually kind of travels across the country. You can see your East Coast friends see it, then your Central, and then your West Coast friends waking up saying, what happened? But lost in that shuffle was Brandon Drury getting a 2-year, $17 million deal. Very friendly deal. I'll take that 10 out of 10 times over the Conforto deal, 2 for 36, to go to the Angels. And this is a solid move. He's back in a hitter-friendly park, 6th overall, 7th in homers for righties. And that lineup is starting to look pretty nice. Now they have to find health, right? Any lineup does, of course, but this one in particular has had health concerns. Obviously, Trout, Rendon, Taylor Ward, when he got hurt last year, when he was playing through it, it was not going well. And Ohtani obviously needs to stay healthy. But again, Ward, Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, Renfroe, Drury, and then even the bottom third of the lineup, Walsh, Ohop, and Rengifo. I worry about Walsh a bit, but he's your 7 hitter. You're not having big expectations on him. I like this move for Drury. I'm in. What do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, even with Walsh, like, having some real question marks coming off the injury, and potentially being a June guy, like, they've got Urshela and David Fletcher, both on the bench.
I forgot about Urshela.
Yeah,
and Drury can just go to first if Walsh is a problem and Urshela's on the field. Yeah, so they have depth now too. That's a great call. I totally forgot about Urshela. I'm sorry, Ursh. That's my guy.
Yeah, so I mean, I almost wonder if they're going to trade somebody from the offense away for something, maybe for some more bullpen help or something. I think this is a really, really good move for him. I like that he got what looks like a full-time role. I think that was the big question on Brandon Drury was, is he going to, are people going to buy into the 1-year sample and go, exactly, hey, this guy's a full-time player, or was he going to be a super utility guy, kind of like he started in Cincinnati before he started to break out? So good on him. I think he is a really interesting guy because of the multi-position eligibility. The park isn't necessarily great for righties, but
it is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good park. I mean, it's not Cincy. Cincy's, up there on a par with Colorado, to be honest. It's not that far off Colorado. It's better for home runs, by the way, than Colorado. 145 park factor to 121. But the Angels Stadium is 112.
No? Okay.
And that is the 7th park factor for righties over the last 3 years for home runs. And the overall park factor is 103, which puts them 5th. So, or sixth rather. I like Angel Stadium for him. We know that it's gotten better for lefties, but it's pretty good for righties too. And we saw, like when he went to San Diego from Cincy, he became more of a league average guy, which that was still fine, especially because Brandon Drury is not an expensive player in the market. But now that he goes back to a hitter-friendly park, first, second, third eligibility, he's a pick 190 in these 5 DCs. I think even with the price raising, even if you put him more, let's say 160, let's go 2 rounds up, he'll be going around the likes of Eugenio Suarez, Anthony Rizzo, Matt Chapman. I think Brandon Drury belongs in that group, and I have no problem with that.
Dude, I do not think he belongs in that group.
Why
but
not?
With Rizzo and who was the other name that you mentioned?
Suarez and Chapman.
Yeah, no, I don't think he belongs. I don't.
What's so special about that group that Drury can't do?
They're established. Like this is what they do is established.
As bad though, or flawed, I should say, not bad.
I mean, they're all flawed at that point in the draft. It's just a matter of picking your flaws that you're willing to deal with and the ones you're not. And I guess Drury's main flaw is like he just hasn't done this before. And
that's really it. Yeah, because I mean, Suarez and Chapman are remarkably volatile.
Absolutely.
And like Rizzo, I can
sure you're going to get a fair amount of power.
I think you're going to get that from Drury too. Like that's what he does. I think he absolutely fits in that group. So if he's up there, I'll take him, especially with the triple eligibility, kind of offsets some of the lack of track record. He's a much better batting average guy than all 3 of those, at least last year. We'll see what he does, right? It's hard to project him because he did play 92 games in Cincy. That really, really inflated his numbers. And then, like I said, he was pretty pedestrian as far as the triple slash when he went to San Diego, 238, 290, 435 with 8 homers. But again, getting back in a hitter-friendly park, I think he's going to be a plus bat, triple eligible. I think he can hang with this group. And he's not even there yet. That's if he moves up there.
Yeah.
We don't know the effects of the signing yet. I decided to move him 2 rounds. If he just moves 1 round and it's more like the 175 range, then you're talking Alec Boehm, Cabrian Hayes, Brandon Lau. I think he fits in that group too. I'm fine with Drury. I really like Drury.
Yeah, I like him too. I hope he doesn't go up too much. I think you're right that like this move is really overshadowed.
Definitely.
Because of the Correa stuff. So maybe he doesn't move up as much as traditional free agent signing would.
That'd be great. Now, speaking of Drury, I think this guy has a great shot to go Drury next year. His former teammate is going to go out to Cincinnati, Wil Myers, signing with the Reds. We know the question here. It's health. That's it, right? The talent is not really in question. And again, you take what he's done as a Padre and you put it in that park. And if he finds some health, again, I think he can go Drury on the league and really be awesome. Wil Myers, you want to talk afterthought in the draft world? Nobody out there trying to get Wil Myers. Pick 467 in these 5 drafts. Obviously, that's going to go way up. I think that can go up 100 picks, to be honest. He has first and outfield eligibility. Let's put him at the 350 range and see who's in that area there. 350 is, you're talking about like Avisel Garcia, Leody Taveras, Jurickson Profar. Not a lot of power. Oh, Mark Canha. So you got Avi, Votto, Mark Canha, Wil Myers. That's at 350. That'd be a 100 pick jump for Wil Myers. I certainly would have no problem with him being in that area. If he jumps up that high, that's an aggressive push. But I do think that there's going to be some love for this move in Cincy. And Wil Myers will jump, and I'll pay it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I absolutely will pay it. This is like the perfect fit for him. Like
this is one of your guys too. I know you've drafted him a lot in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's one of those guys that his batting average really fluctuates kind of year to year, and whatever his BABIP's doing. Cincinnati's gonna be good for that. So I like that. I actually kind of like that top half of the Cincinnati lineup.
Me too, man. They got some of my faves there. They got Stevenson, Fraley. I'm in on Myers. I think India can bounce back, and he's at a fair price. Haven't you been talking up some TJ Friedel?
Yeah, that's my boy. So
yeah, so Friedel and Fraley, we like the 2 FR outfielders out there. I like some of the things they're doing with this lineup. I even think Spencer Steer's kind of an interesting deep leaguer as well. So I'm with you on the Reds, and that park is amazing. Again, I was just telling you, it's basically like Coors Jr. for righties.
Yeah, it is. It's when we were at the at First Pitch Arizona, Rob Silver was talking about like why, since the DH has been added to the National League, why the National League's actually become the hitters league as opposed to the American League.
Yep.
And it's largely because of Coors and Cincinnati. Like everything's pretty much equal, and then you add those two in, and that gives American League hitters a pretty big boost.
National League hitters.
National League hitters a pretty big boost, and that means National League pitchers are taking a hit.
And we used to favor them with no DH, right? Like your tiebreaker between an AL and NL guy was always the NL guy, no DH, and now that's flipped a bit. That's a great call out by Rob. So yeah, I like this Wil Myers move. It did have to facilitate a DFA, and this was a surprising one, at least in terms of name. When you kind of look at the track record and everything, I don't think people are that surprised. But I think you even had missed this one coming across the wire yesterday. Mike Moustakas, DFA'd. Just a brutal last couple seasons, 62 and 78 games respectively, 69 and 76 WRC plus. You don't really want your WRC plus matching your games played unless you're well over 100 games, because that's really rough. He's going to be 34, and we're a good bit removed from good Moustakas, which is 2019. He was above average in 2020 for the shortened season, but that's a tiny sample. What's up with Moose, and are you interested if he lands somewhere neutral or better as far as the park? Because he's obviously leaving a great park. What do you think of Moose? Is he cooked?
I don't know that he's cooked. He obviously needs to find health. I think if he lands a full deal somewhere, I'll be interested.
That's literally the best park he could have played in, though. It's the number one park for lefties, even above Coors.
But I mean, he played the majority of his career in Kansas City, and which is one of the worst parks you can hit in.
Yeah. Oh, when he's healthy,
great. Like
his
when he's
power
healthy,
plays.
He's fine. Yeah. So I'm not super worried about it. It's just a matter: is he going to find a full-time role, or is he going to be in some sort of platoon or timeshare? I prefer him to just go back to third base full-time, because I think the position switching isn't doing his body any help. Hey, maybe my Giants might be interested. They like these injury tracker guys apparently. Honestly, and now they don't have Correa to play third base, so it makes a lot of sense.
Come on down, Mike Moustakas. I've always liked Moose. He's always been a nice fantasy player because I think even at his best, he was never particularly overpriced. Those 3 years when he was like a real power stud, 38, 28, 35 homers. We're a long way removed from that. Like I said, 2019 was the last time he was a fantasy stud. We'll see where he lands. I think wherever he lands will probably look like it's going to be a platoon to start with the opportunity to kind of play his way out of it. I don't think it's going to be an expensive draft cost. Are you taking Moose in like a DC right now? I mean, he's a pick 630. Like that is nothing. That's literally one of your last picks.
I'm not touching him until he signs.
Okay, yeah, because that's 42nd round pick, and I'm still not really interested. I agree with you. So we'll stay tuned on that. But for now, Mike Moustakas DFA'd. I don't think you need to worry about drafting him. All right, let's talk. Let's play a little game, a little made up game here. Gift or Cole, and pretty straightforward here. Got 6 players, youngsters, that very disappointing last year. They were hyped, had expectations, and I could have picked any number of guys here. I just kind of plucked 6 from a group of basically. What I was looking for was 24 or younger, 200 or fewer plate appearance, or 200 more plate appearances of a below average bat, so 99 or lower OPS plus. That returned a sample of 23 guys, and I selected 6 here that interest me, and I want to see how you feel about them going forward, because as we've talked about many a time on this show, the fantasy community just overreacts to a prospect who does not pan out immediately. They get dumped. You're done. You are a piece of garbage. You're not a good player. Bye. And they become potential bargains, especially if you still believe in them. Let's start with CJ Abrams, the first of these, and the most expensive, I believe. He's up at pick 226, which is not dirt cheap, but it's also not particularly expensive. It is in that gamble area where you're hoping to pan out on some big breakouts. He's with the Nats after the Soto trade. Playing time should be completely unencumbered for him. We have him batting second right now. He's a speed demon who is expected to be able to develop into some pop down the road. I don't think it'll be this year or anything, but can he be a good enough batting average and speed guy to where you like CJ Abrams? Is he gift or Cole at pick 226?
I think he's a gift. I'm surprised he's going as high as he is. considering how awful kind of 2022 was for him.
I think it's that speed.
Yeah, it is the speed. But I just think, one, you get the speed. I don't think he's a zero on the power. I think, especially in Washington, which is, usually been a pretty good part to hit in. He's going to hit high up in the lineup. I wish he had been able to keep the second base eligibility, but I think, being just shortstop is fine. He made really good zone contact, and it improved once he got to Washington. His main issue is he has no real eye for the strike zone yet, or at least not shown that at the major league level. And unfortunately, that is going to catch up to him in terms of the batting average if he continues to be this way. We're talking like a 1.7% walk rate in 2022. He was swinging outside the zone over 45% of the time.
That's what I was going to bring up. That was devastating. Yeah. If you do the 300 plate appearance threshold here, CJ Abrams was 12th in swing rate at 44%.
Yeah. So, who knows how much of it is, hey, he's just young. He's overly aggressive. But he's a guy that throughout the minor leagues has not really been a big walk rate guy. He's got, one sample of like 8%, but other than that, it's been 5-6% walk rates in the minor leagues. So I believe that he has a lot of potential. I'm willing to take some calculated dart throws on teams that I feel are fairly safe already. He's not a guy that I want to add to an already risky team, because I think the floor is back to the minors. So
absolutely,
you could literally get nothing from him.
And CJ Abrams skipped AAA to get to the majors. By the way, when he broke camp, he hadn't played AAA yet. He only played 38 AAA games this year, only 42 in AA. He's very, very raw. And he's kind of learning on the job. And in Washington, there's a chance for that to continue, but that could mean some rough fantasy output. He's a guy I'm reluctant to give up on. I think even a dud this year would still make it tough for me to give up on him, because he's just going into his age 22 season. And so, I think if we see some progress this year, there'll be a lot. It will be, I think I like his projection. 11 homers, 17 steals with a 95 WRC plus for Abrams. I could totally see that.
I could too. If he had not come up to the majors last year and he had just done what he did in the minors, he'd be going where Corbin Carroll is going this year. He would be a top 100, 120 pick. Because people are like, well, look, he's got past playing time. He, has all these.
You're saying if you extrapolate his AAA sample over a full season?
Yeah.
He had 7 homers with 10 steals in 30 games. So if he'd have, kept that sort of pace, it was a 116 WRC plus and just had a huge AAA season, you're saying the stock on Abrams would have been sky high.
Yeah, everybody would be going crazy about, the next, Bobby Witt Jr. or whatever to come up because of that. And so because he comes up and has a, 90 game sample at the majors that sucked, people, drop him almost 200 spots in the ADP. So fine, I'll take that discount. I'll take the gamble. Yeah. If you're willing to take gamble on guys going super high that have, barely played in the majors or not played in the majors, I'm looking at you, Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Carroll, then you should be willing to take a shot on CJ Abrams.
Yeah, I don't think because Abrams struggled this year that the book is any more written on him than it is Gunnar or Corbin Carroll. I think that's a fair point. Spencer Torkelson, gift or coal? Rough debut season. 404 plate appearances of a 76 WRC plus, just 8 homers. It included a demotion, one of those get your head right type of demotions. He came back. I don't think he was all that much better after the return. He's around pick 296 in these last 5 draft champions drafts. Is that gift or coal at 296 for Spencer Torkelson?
I think it's a gift because
right answer, you son of a bitch.
Of where he's going.
Yes.
And I feel like the Tigers should give him kind of free playing time and passes to
I think they will. And the only reason they sent them down is it just got so bad that it was like, just go down to the minors and feel what it's like to not be terrible. And frankly, he wasn't even that good in that sample. He took a bunch of walks. His walk rate got back up to 15%, but he had 229, 348, 389 down there. The power really wasn't there. I don't know if he had nagging injuries or anything. I don't know. It was a really rough season for the 22-year-old. And it's not just because I'm a Tigers fan, but I'm just not going to write him off based on this. And going around pick 300, I don't think there's a premium to take another shot on Spencer Torkelson. So I'm into it. It's a gift for me at that price. I like him as my corner or util. And let's see what we got here. Obviously, if he flops again this year, then we start to reassess. But it was a flop rookie year. There's no two ways around it. But I'm not out on Torque.
The hard part is the other first baseman going behind him. I mean, you got. All right, who'd you rather have, Torkelson or Jared Walsh?
I'll go Torque because of Walsh's health concerns.
Okay, what about Isaac Paredes? Triple eligible Isaac Paredes.
What's his playing time looking like?
Probably the same as it was last year, which is going to be good in moments and sporadic in others.
Yeah. I'm going to cop out a little bit and say team construction would decide that more. If I'm looking for the volume, I'm going to still lean Torque. But if I'm like, hey, give me just the best pound for pound bat, I would take Paredes there right now.
And then Juan Yepes.
Oh, man, I'm a Yepes guy.
Going pretty much the same spot as Torkelson.
But also not guaranteed for playing time, right?
Yeah,
exactly. He's not penciled in. He's penciled in at DH right now. So we'll see if that sticks. But that has Gorman on the bench and Paul DeJong on the bench. And I'm not sure if either of those things. And I know Paul DeJong's not great, but the Cardinals have stayed pretty committed to him.
How dare you?
He only played 77 games last year because he was so bad. I did not realize how bad Paul DeJong was.
He got sent down to minors.
55 WRC plus. Oh
my WRC
God.
Plus is higher.
Right? I'd draft you over DeJong for sure. So yeah, maybe Gorman takes the Yepes. So to answer that one though, I'm gonna go Torque. I'm gonna stay committed on Torque here. I like Yepes. I'll have shares of both, 100%.
Yeah, I'll probably have shares of both too. I think he kind of that tier offers like the last really good good enough first baseman to be drafted. So and then you start getting to the Wil Myers, the world, and
I think he belongs in that group too right now.
Yeah,
because of where he landed. I know he wasn't up there, but based on the Cincy move, he'll be up there. But then who's after that?
Like Lamont Wade, Brandon Belt, Nick Prado.
Yeah, there's the drop off.
Yeah, so
can we do a quick pivot on Prado real fast? I didn't put him on Gift or Cole because he didn't meet the thresholds. I think it might be, man. I'm really in on Vinny P. We talked Vinny P up last year. He really did a lot this year. They've got the two guys. There was concerns like, is Prado going to be ahead of him because of the prospect pedigree and being on the 40 and all that? Pasquantino was awesome, and he's going to be the dude. Are you concerned about Prado? He had an 82 WRC plus, which again, we're giving passes here on guys that didn't exactly perform, but it was a 36% K rate. That's a little bit alarming. You said Cole already, but you're out on Prado right now?
I mean, it depends on what you mean and like out. Like, would I draft him in a DC? Yeah, I might take a dart throw. Like,
would you rather him or Kyle Manzardo with Tampa Bay? An interesting prospect who tore the cover off the ball in the minors.
I think. Well, that's really tough. I think I would lean Prado just because I believe he might get more playing time than Manzardo. Like,
what about G-Man Choi in Pittsburgh, who has?
No, I'll take Choi.
I'll take him on that front side platoon. Yeah. Even knowing he's a platoon guy, I'm taking Choi. I think Choi's an interesting, especially in DCs. I mean, he's picked 500. He's very, very cheap. But for that context of that league, I like Choi. What about Dahlbeck? You know where I'm going on that. But Prado or Dahlbeck, you're going Prado.
I'll go Prado.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm having to make these decisions, things have not gone well in my draft. Like that.
Well, at that point, you're just picking depth, right?
Yeah, but like, there's so many guys like that I really like at first base going ahead of them. Like,
true, and you don't want to be like. I'm with you. I don't really want to be taking like crusty first baseman down there. I want to be taking like middle infielders or like more high upside dart throws. And I think Prado is the best of that bunch, unless we get indication that Manzardo has like a path to playing time, which right now I'm not sure he does. Although we have Jonathan Aranda penciled in at first, who I'm actually intrigued by as well. I like him too. Dude can hit. But Manzardo, if folks aren't familiar with him, had a killer 2022 at high A and double A, just absolutely tore the cover off the ball. But it was high A and double A, so he hasn't even hit triple A yet. That's why it's tough to know.
It's the Rays. It's just so hard to believe that he's going to be up that quick.
So I feel you on that. But anyway, Nick Prado, we're not as keen on. Let's continue on our Gifter Cole here and talk about Jesús Sánchez. Now, he was somebody I really liked coming into the season last year. And if I recall correctly, let me look at his numbers. I want to say he started off pretty solid. He was like, oh, hey, things are going all right here. This is why I drafted him. I like this guy. Big April, 839 OPS with 3 homers. And he never reached those heights again. I mean, he had a better September from a OPS standpoint, but it was 18 plate appearances. So he peaked in April and went steadily downhill from there. His next 4 months, he eclipsed 650 OPS just once, and it was a 704. Bottom line, it was a tough season for Jesús Sánchez with the Marlins. I believe that it also ended up in a demotion at one point. Mm-hmm. 93 WRC plus, 13 homers in 343 plate appearances, 27% strikeout rate, 8% walk, 214 average, 280 OBP, 403 slug. Bottom line, it wasn't great, but it also wasn't a nightmare. 93 WRC plus is not the end of the world. Gifter Cole for Jesús Sánchez, who is going 417.
I am trying to look up and give the proper credit, but apparently Jesús Sánchez retooled. I want to say retooled the swing. And kind of changed his batting stance in the minor leagues. And if you look at what he did in the minor leagues, so for about a 2-month sample, he had 308, 6 home runs, 4 stolen bases, was making more contact, only struck out 21% of the time. I'm kind of excited about Jesús Sánchez. The problem becomes, where does he play in Miami?
The outfield?
Well,
they got Avi.
That's a pretty crowded outfield. Their new manager just said that he expects Brian De La Cruz to get 500 plate appearances in center.
I'm chill with that. So Avi, De La Cruz, and Sanchez.
What about Soler?
What about him? DH.
What about JJ Bleday? What about John Birdie?
Okay, wait. First off, John Birdie, get real. He's a utility guy. I'm serious. Like, let's be honest about John Birdie. He's not a good player. Like,
there are a lot of guys. There are a lot of mouths that need to be fed.
But John Birdie is not one of them. Like, over Jesús Sánchez, not in the slightest. Like,
and he'll play second as soon as Jazz Chisholm gets hurt. So
he'll bounce around the infield. But my concern for John Birdie is literally non-existent when it comes to somebody like Jesús Sánchez. And in fact, I would go so far as to say that
winner, John Birdie.
He was, and that's awesome. And if you're drafting him at pick 237 this year, good luck with that. I think that's a wild overdraft. You could not pay me to draft him there. Like, I don't see it. He has to find that lucky playing time again.
You could pay me to draft him as long as it's like the amount of the buy-in.
Just give me a free league to do it. Yeah. And like I'm hating on Birdie kind of hard here. It's not so much Birdie. It's just like the 41 steals are so alluring. They're not happening again. There's no shot. I shouldn't say no shot. It's not zero. It's not zero. It's not zero. I know. But like, no, I'm not paying full freight for that guy. And I'm not worried that he blocks off Sanchez in the slightest. Now, Bleday, look, I almost put Bleday on this list because he's also a Gifter Cole question mark that I think a lot of people are going to end up saying Cole. I'm a Bleday guy. You know,
I am too.
We've been pumping him up, but we are in the minority. Not a lot of folks are interested in JJ Bleday. He put up a 72 WRC plus in his 238 plate appearances, 167, 277, 309. The only good factor there is that he had a 110-point average OBP split because he did walk 13% of the time. 5 homers, 4 steals. I'm not fully out on him, but again, I don't think Bleday blocks off Sanchez. You mentioned Sanchez getting better in the minors and changing some things. To me, there's no way they're not going to be committed to him with Avi, who they paid money for. So that money is going to help him. And he's slimmed down. They're saying all the right things about him in the offseason. He's going to get his chance. De La Cruz, I agree with giving him a chance too. But I think Sanchez is that other guy. I think Baudet is the one that's on the outside looking in. And Birdie's a super util.
For sure, because Sanchez doesn't have any options. So Sanchez has to be on the 26-man roster.
So he's going to get that chance.
Yeah, I think Baudet starts the year in the minors. I think Sanchez is in the majors. I think he's given an opportunity, and I really do like him. Especially he's a guy I'm going to watch really closely in spring trainings and kind of watch the strikeouts, to walk ratios. But if those are on point, like I don't even care if he doesn't hit for power or anything like that. You know, there's plenty of power in that bat. He's going to be a huge target for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was in on Sanchez last year. It flopped, but I'm not out here.
No, yeah.
I think he's a gift at that ADP, and I'm certainly comfortable taking him. Let me give you some context of guys around him, just so we know what's there. It seems like we're taking Sanchez, but he is going around the likes of your boy TJ Friedl. Right there, pick 415. Aledmus Diaz, Will Brennan, whose playing time is not looking very good. Okay, here's one in a very similar vein in the same state. Josh Lowe at pick 408 or Jesus Sanchez at 417.
Jesus Sanchez is not close. Josh Lowe.
You're out on Lowe?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I'm not even saying it like I'm so in. I'm just surprised. I didn't know you were so definitively out.
I'm sorry. Like,
do tell.
He just strikes out too much. He swings at everything. You go and look at what his strikeout rate was in the minor leagues when he was hitting 300 after being demoted. Like he still got like a 38% strikeout rate. Like he just swings at everything. And when he makes contact, it's going to go far. But when you're going up against major league pitching, you can't do that. Like he just doesn't have the contact skills to make it at the major league level.
I'm concerned about that too. Now do Jared Kelenic, excuse me.
But Kelenic has shown the ability to make contact at a pretty elite level in the minor leagues.
Once.
How dare you?
Once.
Yeah, he's done it though. Like
Justin,
there's a huge Joshua's never done it.
Justin, it was 143 plate appearances, my guy.
You're 143.
And listen, I'm not saying they're a 1-to-1 in the minor league strikeout rates because they're not. He didn't have as many issues coming up. Kelenic didn't as Lowe did. I'm not saying they're 1-to-1 here, but you look at what he's done at the majors. It's dicey.
Kelenic has the majority of his minor league career is sub 20% strikeout. Like
that is not true at all.
2019 sub 20,
92 plate appearances.
Or sorry, 2018 sub 20.
Whoa. No.
Yeah.
First off, 19 and a half. Get real. I'm rounding that up. Plus, you have to include the 51 plate appearances from the other. Like, there's two rookie.
Add them together, it's not getting over 20%.
It absolutely is. It 1,000% is.
All right.
Do the math right this second.
I don't want to do the math.
Well, because you would be wrong. No, I'm serious. Like, if
Probably.
it's 19 and a half for 200 plate appearances and you add 51 more plate appearances of 21.6, I guarantee that's pushing you to 20, especially because I'm not giving it to you if it's 19.9. You're like, that's under 20. Give me a break. But look at the swinging strike rates too. The only time there was like a really good one was that 143 plate appearance sample in 2021. And that was cool and all, but that is the clear anomaly at this point.
Okay, I just went and did it. It's 19.9%. So
I knew it. I knew you would think that that's something. It's 20%. But again, that's
20% good though. Like that's really
no,
good.
It's not. It's not that good, especially in rookie ball in the minors. Like if you're doing 20% at rookie ball, then you're going to be projected to be mid-20. Like that's not that good. That's not, especially
he did. Let's just even talk just about his AAA. 15.4% in 2021.
143 plate appearances.
20.8%.
21% this year. Yes. 21% this year. And what were his major league numbers?
I'm saying,
but what you're going to lean on this minor league numbers when we have major league numbers
because he's shown a track record of being able to do it.
It's
in the
not
minor
a
league.
Track record though. It's fits and starts. It really isn't, though. It's 30% in 558 major league plate appearances for Kelenic. I don't understand why that gets ignored so that you can feel good about
It's
the
not
minor league.
ignored, but like
It's way more
take
important
the
than
gamble.
it's way more important than anything he did in the minors, though, because it's in the majors.
Yeah,
the
but
league
that's
that he's
why
actually
he's going
playing
like
in.
top 4, like outside the top 350 or wherever he's going.
278. Nice try.
All right, outside the top 250 or something. I love that I've got the editing ability. Edit like all like the bad arguments on my part.
But like, who are you taking?
Gamble.
Who are you taking him over in this area? Your boy Brandon Marsh is right there. I guess you just love outfielders who don't know how to make contact, because Brandon Marsh is getting picked right there. So
of course I do. I've got a co-host who doesn't know how to make one.
Wait, what?
I have co-hosts can't make contact too. So whatever.
I doubt you would make any contact either. Yeah, I would strike out. We talked about this guy at the Arizona Fall League. So not a ton has changed, but there have been rumors of potential trades with this team, which maybe opens up the door for Alek Thomas. But if you didn't get to listen to that episode or you forgot what we talked about, he's a pick 374 in these DCs. I think the price has really come down on him. People are starting to see, okay, maybe Alek Thomas is not somebody that we should be drafting and going crazy for, because where the hell is he going to play right now? Currently on Roster Resource, he's penciled to start in the minors, which is something that I can totally agree with, especially with the Kyle Lewis acquisition. Again, there could be trades here, but is Alek Thomas gift or coal at that late price point?
I think until we see a better path to playing time, whether it be a trade for him or a trade for somebody else that's already on the team, I think you got to say Cole. I really like Alek Thomas. I think he's a gift long term. And I wouldn't mind taking like a calculated like gamble here and there, especially like in a DC or something like that, or even in a 30 round draft where you've got that, because he doesn't make the roster, you can drop him, right? Like you don't have to worry about holding on to him. But I think there is something here long term. There are some real questions about his understanding of the strike zone, how aggressive he got when he was up at the majors. The team talked about it publicly. The reason that he was sent down was because he kept expanding the strike zone.
And it wasn't even that his strikeout rate was obscene for Alek Thomas. It was 18%, but his walk rate cut in half, more than in half. It went from 11% in AAA to just 5% in the majors. And they were like, wait a minute, you've kind of lost who you were. And so I totally understand where the Diamondbacks are coming from with that, with regards to Alek Thomas. And like I said, he's not penciled in right now with Varsho, McCarthy, and whom I forget. Oh, Corbin Carroll. Duh, we were talking about him earlier. And then, like I said, Kyle Lewis coming in. Now, Kyle Lewis, major injury risk, but he's on the team. They signed him. They got him there. That's more depth. They are so ripe for an outfielder trade. It could be Alek Thomas. Varsho was being rumored. It could be him. But absent a trade, it's going to take some time, I think, for Alek Thomas. I think he spends a couple weeks in AAA to start the season, barring an injury from somebody.
And I don't think he's got like this amazing upside that maybe we thought he did coming up. Like I think his like best case scenario is
Verdugo.
I was gonna say Benintendi.
Same player. That's the same player. Yeah, so that's fine.
But even like a prime Benintendi, a guy who can be like
more speed.
15-25 potential.
Yeah, that's fair.
With good batting averages and things like that, on top of a good lineup thing. But the problem is when you're a guy like that is you are more of a sum of all your parts as opposed to having a carrying tool in fantasy.
Yep.
And so if one of those tools fails you, especially contact or power, you become empty in that department. So, and that's what we saw with Benintendi, right? Benintendi was like a potential 2020 guy with good batting average, and all of a sudden the power disappeared.
Well, the injuries took over too.
And the batting average disappeared, and you went, oh, now he's useless. Now he went from a second-round pick to not being a top 200 player.
Yeah.
And that is the scary part about a guy like Alek Thomas, is because he's, shown at the majors already that he can expand that strike zone. He doesn't walk, and all of a sudden the batting average isn't there. And you go, oh, now he could be useless.
No, there's definitely concern there. And it's one of those things like, and using Verdugo as an example too, like he was still pretty good last year, 283, 28, 405 with 11 homers, 74 ribbies and 75 runs. And it's fine. And I feel like guys like this, like was the 27th outfielder on the auction calculator, which is pretty good. But when you look at team construction with guys like this, you have to be careful because you need to make sure that your power is really situated, especially if you have more than one of these guys. And we talked about that with your main event with Verdugo and Benintendi specifically. But if you get these Alek Thomas types and these Verdugo types, you get too many of them, your power really takes a hit. So your dollar values returned might look good, but your performance as a fantasy team might not because of the categories that they deliver, or in this case, don't deliver. So be careful with this player type. It can be a trap because quality plate skills and good batting average, you're like, hey, there's something here. But bottom line is it's not as much fantasy goodness as you think, even if the dollar value suggests that it is, if that makes sense.
Agreed.
Cristian Pache, brilliant defender. Is he a good hitter? I don't know. Is he gift or coal? He's going to be going very cheaply. Let me see what his price is. Pache. Yeah, he's literally, first off, he only went in one of these 5 DCs. He's literally the last outfielder listed at pick 749. This is a real player. Cedane Rafaela.
Oh, how dare you talk poorly about Cedane Rafaela?
Put me on. I do not know who this guy is.
I don't know who it is either.
Oh, okay. I thought it was some prospect that you liked. Yeah, this guy, he went ahead of Pache in a draft. They both have only gone in one of these DCs. A Boston prospect of some sort. I'm sorry, Mr. Rafael. I do not know who you are, but somebody thought it was worth taking him instead of Cristian Pache. The prospect pedigree is there, but it is related to that defense, right? It was always like, this is a 100% quality, major league quality center fielder who could be one of the very best defenders in the game, but we do not know what the bat is. And this year it was dreadful. 260 plate appearances of a 35 WRC plus, 24 years old. Is there a path to anything here? I'll tell you also, the minor league track record is not that encouraging either. Can Pache ever become fantasy relevant?
It depends on what you mean by
in mixers where you're starting them in your 5 outfielders, 15 teams. I'll even go deeply, 15 team.
DC, he's gonna play, and in a DC, I will take a guy at the back end of my roster that I feel pretty.
Looks like he could be literally your last pick, though.
Yeah, and so I will take him there because he has speed and he's gonna play. That being said, when we're talking about his ADP being much higher than his OPS, we have serious problems. Like serious problems. But he's free. Like he's legitimately
that one you can say free.
He's legitimately free.
You take him with your last pick for Cristian Pache. People are out.
There's a potential world in which he can get to 600 plate appearances.
That's because of Oakland's suckiness and the elite defense.
Yeah.
And there's a world where, but at what cost, Justin? He hit 166, 218, 241.
But at that point in the draft, I'm just looking for plate appearances. Like I'm just looking for guys who, like, if things go right, there's some upside, and the plate appearances, like there's a clear path to playing time. Like you're picking guys like who I don't even remember the dude's name you just said, like
Cedane Rafaela.
Yeah, so like
I don't know.
You're picking random people like that have been like name auto generated in MLB The Show. So like yeah, like give me a guy that has a legit shot to have 600 plate appearances. Especially if and when they do trade Ramon Laureano, which should be any second now. I think he's going to play.
Maybe you guys can get him. Maybe that could be another injury guy for you.
They'd make a lot of sense though, because we need a center fielder, like because Conforto and Haniger can play center field. So that would actually make a lot of sense and really go well with the track record of injury prone guys. So God. What a just absolute nightmare my team is right now. But as far as Pache goes, I do not think he can hit his body weight, much less mine. But I will say he's a gift because of the price right now. He's free. He's legit free.
I still say he's cold because he didn't. I don't even think he runs. Like his projection is for 4 steals in 300 plate appearances.
Well, that's because you can't steal if you don't get on first base. Like that's part of the problem. However, like could he not be like a Rajay Davis type? Like
I don't think he's a good base runner, so I don't know. I think Rajay Davis is a way better player than Cristian Pache from fantasy.
I agree. I agree with that as well. But like
I hear you as your last pick because he is literally free. I think we throw the free thing around too much in the fantasy community, but for Pache, literally free.
I don't think you throw it around enough.
You're wrong. You're one of the key offenders, by the way. You're like, he's going to pick 132. That's free. That's free.
Yeah.
All right. So let's
second round pick. That's free.
That's free. Let's end on somebody who is not as depressing. Bryson Stott. Now he wasn't quite as bad as the rest of these dudes. 10 homers, 12 steals, and 466 plate appearances, but it was only an 84 WRC plus, 234, 295, 358. Not a whole lot to go off of there, but learning on the job kind of thing. And I got to be honest, I'm still pretty keen on this guy. I still think there's plenty of upside here for the 24-year-old or 25 going into this year. I don't think this is full on Scott Kingery situation. He was Cristian Pache levels of bad to start the season. Literally had a 330 OPS through May. Now it wasn't 2 full months of playing time. It was sporadic playing time, but it was very, very bad. From that point forward, from June 1st forward, 719 OPS with all 10 homers and all 12 steals. He hadn't done anything to that point. That's not too bad. Second and short eligibility. I think there might be something here with Bryson Stott with where he's going, which I will get you that pick here in just 1 second. Pick 227. Is that gift or Cole for Bryson Stott?
It's absolutely a gift. I think Stott is dual eligible at second and short. With Segura gone now, he's got a full path to playing time, which was something that could have been an issue. With Trey Turner coming to town, he makes really, really good zone contact. Those numbers that you mentioned from June 1st, during that time, he had a 91.4% zone contact percentage, which is pretty elite. I really like Stott. There's some power, there's some speed. He's buried in that lineup because that lineup is so good. So he's going to be batting towards the bottom. So you have to account for that.
Yeah, I think that's helped in the price, right?
Yeah, I think that helps in the price. And like I said, I love that dual eligibility. So yeah, I'm all here for Bryson Stott.
Yep, I'm taking the chance. Again, 2 dreadful months really weighed the numbers down. 719 OPS isn't getting anybody to go crazy, but it's a lot more palatable than 653. Let me ask you, between him and his teammate Bohm, a player that we've definitely propped up here on the channel before, who do you like better?
Oh,
Bohm, by the way, is 178, so he's a good bit more expensive.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Stott because of the price difference.
I think the price, speed outweigh the third base of it all for me, which is what Bohm has.
I don't think third base is as bad as other people do.
You are definitely wrong. Correa does not fix it, but yeah, there's cliffs, man.
There's cliffs, but they're cliffs at every position.
Not like that. Does any other position go from pick 90 to 150 between 8 and 9? The way Gunnar Henderson and Jose Miranda go? I don't know, man. What?
I think that's more a matter of
well, there's another cliff before that. It goes from Arenado to Bregman, 34 to 78. Like that, there are clear cliffs at third base. I'm not listen.
Yeah, for me, I care more. I mean, there are definitely cliffs, and you want to be kind of wary of where those cliffs are for you. But there's lots of guys going like, Justin Turner at 315. Aforementioned Isaac Paredes, going.
They can't be your starting first baseman or third baseman, though.
I'm fine with Turner as my starting third baseman. I mean, I don't want that, but I'm fine.
You should not be fine with it. That's really bad. All right, that's gonna wrap us up. A little game of gift to Cole there. I hope you get a lot of gifts. I hope you
get a lot of Cole.
All right. Well, then I'm going to end the show. It's very mean of you. I love you, and I'll see you later. And we might do an episode next week. We are dark for the site, and so we'll kind of play it by ear.
I'm sure we will. I'm going to want to show you all my Christmas presents.
Exactly. And I think
a very large RotoWare box showed up at my house yesterday.
That's awesome. I think both of us will have availability. So there's a good chance we'll do at least one episode, but I just want, in case we don't for some reason, it's because the site's dark, but I'm pretty close to guaranteeing at least one app. So, but have a good holiday, Justin. I'll talk to you next week. It might be Tuesday instead of Monday, but we'll figure out what we want to do. But good holiday to everybody, and stay warm for God's sakes, because this weather sucks. Talk to you later.
Take it easy.